This man put on a clown costume and now can't take it off. Creepy, right? After watching a review of the movie Clown, it'll seem even scarier. Trust me. Little Jack's birthday is coming up, and more than anything, this boy loves clowns. His parents, Kent and Meg, know this very well, so they decorate everything with clowns. While preparing for the party, Jack's mom tells her friend that she's pregnant with their second child. Unfortunately, Kent is late for the celebration. He works as a realtor and is always running errands. Meg complains to her husband that the clown entertainer can't make it to Jack's party. The boy will be very upset, so Kent finds a very old clown costume in one of the houses he's selling. Jack is thrilled, and his birthday turns out great. In the evening, the boy falls asleep on the floor from exhaustion, and Kent feels very pleased with himself. Meg goes to take a shower and asks her husband to take off the clown costume so she can give him a nice surprise. But Kent is also tired and falls asleep on the couch without even removing his makeup. The next morning, Kent, still dressed as a clown, drives Jack to school, then heads to work, causing surprise and laughter among his colleagues. He finally manages to wash off some of the bright makeup. But here is the problem. The clown wig seems to be stuck to his head. The same happens with the fake clown nose. It seems glued to his face. Kent can't take off the costume either. He tries to cut it off and injures his hand. He grabs a stronger tool and keeps trying to remove the strange clown suit. Unfortunately, that doesn't work either. The electric saw breaks, but the costume remains completely intact. Kent returns home and complains to his wife that he can't get rid of the cursed wig, nose, and suit. And he really needs to use the bathroom. Meg laughs and grabs some pliers to remove the clown nose from her husband. Kent screams, and Meg yanks hard. Success! The red nose falls to the floor and is immediately eaten by the dog. But Kent is left with a wound on his nose and presses a tissue to it. At that moment, Meg notices that the hair on Kent's head isn't a wig, it's his real hair. For some reason, it's dyed and curled. Kent goes to the hospital to bandage his nose. He realizes something strange is happening to him. Kent cuts off some of his colorful hair and covers up the remaining white makeup with foundation. He decides to find the owner of the house where he found the clown costume, only to learn that the man has died. Kent also starts to notice a disturbing interest in small children. Later, Kent goes to a Halloween and party supply store. The clerk gives him the address of a man who once sold the same type of clown costume. Kent immediately calls a man named Bert Carlson, who warns him not to touch the costume under any circumstances. Kent confesses that he's already wearing it and heads to meet Carlson. The man serves Kent tea and tells him the origin story of clowns. Originally, they were terrifying and creepy beings that scared children, not made them laugh. Kent begins to feel sick. Apparently, Carlson put something in his tea. Indeed, while Kent lies unconscious and tied up, Carlson sharpens a circular saw. Kent doesn't like this turn of events one bit. He breaks free from the ropes and quickly gets to his feet. He attacks Carlson, who finally explains that the costume is not clothing, it's the skin and hair of a demon. Kent returns home and asks his wife to call the police. At that moment, they have many guests, all shocked to see Kent dressed as a clown. He leads them to his car, where Carlson is tied up in the back seat. Kent takes him to the police, but on the way, strange things start happening to his body. It begins to transform right before his eyes. Carlson manages to escape and attacks Kent. Fighting while driving rarely ends well. And of course, the car crashes. Carlson is badly injured, and a terrified Kent runs away. Meg goes to the police station to report her husband missing. Her father asks her to move in with him for a while, saying Kent is no longer acting normal. That night, Kent ends up near a children's summer camp. One of the boys is told to wash a dirty plate left by the fire. Near a tree, he spots Kent. Kent asks the boy to bring him some food. The kind kid offers him a bag of cookies, but Kent seems to find the boy's hand more appetizing than the treat. The boy runs off screaming into the woods. The next day, Meg studies a book Kent took from Carlson and realizes that clowns are far from funny and harmless. Meanwhile, Kent notices more changes in his appearance and vomits in a public restroom. He hides in a stall and hears a group of kids enter. One boy sees him and screams in terror, prompting Kent to flee. Unfortunately, in his clown form, he's a bit too appealing to children, and another boy, Robbie, approaches him. Kent fights the urge to attack and hides in another house for sale. He screams in despair, clutching his head. That evening, Meg and Jack notice that their dog has been acting strangely ever since it ate the clown nose. Kent calls his wife to say goodbye, then attempts to take his own life with a gun. Colorful blood splatters on the wall, but Kent survives. So he heads to a hardware store for a circular saw. Meg begins searching the homes where Kent worked as a realtor. Meanwhile, Kent is building a device to finally end it all, a homemade guillotine using the circular saw. But he can't muster the courage to go through with it. On his third try, he collapses beside the contraption. At that moment, Robbie enters the house and gets a terrifying surprise. Kent is upset and very hungry. Soon Meg arrives at the house. Kent begs her not to open the door, and she tells him she's pregnant. Hearing this, Kent agrees to come out and asks to be taken home. There, Meg locks him in the basement and chains him to a pipe. Kent begs her never to let him out. Meg turns again to the terrifying book about clowns, hoping to find a way to save her husband. She finds information about two brothers, Martin and Bert Carlson. Bert, of course, is the man who recently attacked Kent. Meg rushes to the hospital to speak with him and beg for help. The man scribbles on a piece of paper, "Don't trust your husband." Getting nothing more from him, Meg heads to the house where Kent found the cursed costume. There, she finds a padded chair and an old video camera. The footage shows a horrifying clown, more demon than man. Meanwhile, Jack is bullied at school and runs home in tears. He hears his father's voice from the basement and goes down. Jack complains about the bullies, and Kent asks his son to bring him bolt cutters. Yikes! Meg returns home and finds a terrified Jack. But Kent is gone. He's gone to deal with the school bullies. One of them, Colton, is playing video games at home and notices the front door is open. Kent is in the hallway. Now he's playing the games. Meg sends Jack to live with his grandfather. Suddenly, Meg is attacked by her own dog. After eating the clown nose, it too has turned into a demon. She's saved by Carlson, who arrives just in time with a machete. He tells Meg the story of the cursed costume. He found it among packages from Iceland and wanted to wear it to cheer up the sick children in his brother's hospital. But the demon took over. To lift the curse, his brother sacrificed 5 children from the hospital to the clown. Jack admits that his dad went to see Colton. Meg leaves her son with his grandfather and heads to Colton's house with Carlson. Unfortunately, they're too late, and what they find inside is horrifying. Meanwhile, Kent goes to a children's amusement park. The kids are laughing and playing, unaware of the danger lurking nearby. Meg and Carlson also arrive. Meg walks past the rides and arcade games, but Kent is nowhere to be seen. He's hiding in a giant indoor play structure. One boy climbs in to find his brother, but instead finds something much worse. Panic erupts when kids see blood on the slide. Chaos breaks out as everyone flees the park. Carlson and Meg search everywhere and find Kent among the stage props. He looks absolutely monstrous. Carlson attacks Kent, but the clown is far stronger. He pins Carlson to the ground and demands Meg bring him another child. In exchange, the demon promises to return her husband. If she refuses, he'll come for her son, Jack. Meg runs out in terror. She looks around, hoping to find a lost child. A girl recognizes Meg and asks her for a ride home. Instead, Meg drives the schoolgirl to dinner with the clown. They stop in an empty area, and the girl steps out. Meg quickly locks the doors, and the girl starts crying and panicking. The clown appears behind her. Unable to go through with it, Meg opens the door and begs the girl to get back in the car. Just then, a police officer shows up. The girl is saved, but Jack is in great danger. His grandfather brings him home to have a serious talk with Kent. Meg also returns and sees the clown attacking her father. The demon demands another child. Meg grabs a hammer, and just then, Jack comes downstairs. A brutal fight breaks out between Meg and Kent. The clown hungrily reaches for her stomach. Jack tries to escape, but the clown follows. Suddenly, Meg attacks from behind. After another struggle, she ends up on the floor while Kent keeps hunting for Jack. He tries to reach the boy in the closet, smashing through the wooden boards. But before he can grab Jack, Meg wraps a metal chain around the clown's neck and chains him to the pipe again. She picks up the hammer and tells her son to close his eyes. One strong blow, and they are finally safe. Meg hugs Jack and apologizes. What's left of the clown dissolves like acid. The remaining hair and costume are collected at the morgue as evidence. If anyone ever puts it on again, you know what'll happen.